Tata almost a catch say not almost Burkina Faso and the fan to Silvino and no enemy actually. Every so I want to be the general massive race course in the general Babia and Ma Mudi to Suga, a Burkina Faso, BI and the general Sada and New Cassay. And chair if you actually see a Magana of 4 days before Burkina Faso to see by the Pabes and so you could share me when she will let it be prepared. And when I watch it to say, no, be uncle Pass for 5 tomatoes in Emma. Now you best in the actual be a queen. Na man for 5 tomatoes in the bed just what Sabe Ghana for Nebia or Moody. Sabe Amaneba better Ghana ha if you best and right idea by say. But kill a bang at a battle to just say, Yamabua, a little bit sooner than me. No, we yet, Magana Nibia and Burkina and the 5 tomatoes. If you say Sabe or the tomatoes, once will be 2 months through, Eddie, I will be a while, Magana from Mamefa. Ebasana Ghana had no.
It's for my Mugina Crab once again. Eba you feed Casey so Pinaxtv. It is very sad, but then you've been following the 10 of events at Ekoso. The past 48 hours, I've been said Ghana no ya swan she pa. And the same information about it to just share parties Burkina Faso. That's already precopedum. They are telling us say tomatoes are or more etoma Ghana for not just Ghana for Togo for Niger near the adeno. Sisi ano sa tomatoes no omu ntombio because tomatoes no omu tokrana omu ko farms na omu ko farmi tomato no omu grow kra na omu de bakwan so beton Ghana for aya bebre suit me say enu ti sisi ano omu hu sisi ano one of the things omu bitima yama omu mine tumpon ne say in order not to make the tomato spoil send be tomatoes no empro and say ana excess no the aka which nen say no omu ba be ye BBF and processing plants no ma process these kind of tomatoes are bruni beka sell omu process no to what we call tomato paste uba chrome high friend tin tomatoes ebia intino omu process na they won't just sell the tin tomatoes to we Ghanaians. They can also export it to US, to China, and at the end of the day, tomatoes beat Maba a big agricultural revenue for the country Burkina Faso. Now they have banned all tomato exports in this raw form. It's tomatoes now, fresh one, no, and the red one out me and squeeze no. On my ban say, Sisi ano enko krubiaso. Na eba ye no dwedifo bebre den kasa. Video I share to say na dwedifo bi esu se Mahama de ne ebe ye de emba kosko no na de hwe ye yire ne yemba ekunu ne yemba. These are the concerns they feel dwedifo ho ba. They are threatening say if Mahama doesn't do anything about it, they will vote against the sitting president of Ghana. So most of us were asking say, this is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. How are we going to react to this? It's therefore and then a holiday ye di the fettle together with yesterday no. President John Dramani Mahama ekopiem shemu die biase eno di two just say what said the course Burkina Faso so monton what do you call it tomatoes in its raw form Emma Ghana ebium. But then no what he's going to do as a president is that what say but obese any delegation okay akọ Burkina Faso send be sad delegation or mukwa. What will happen is that they will speak to Ibrahim Traore aban na etese so mitima left ban no ama Ghana and as a Ghana be exclude Ghana krana nke beboa etefo and this coming at a very sad time because ekamia kwere say now no obi use a trade as a weapon until now sha US for use tires as a weapon no China for so use rare earth as a weapon to US no sa so na sisi an ekamia kwere say Ibrahim Traore ono so eba be use a commodity good goods commodity ati say me chemu ya dia essential goods because untimi ye aduane tomatoes nim how are you going to eat and one dey steam kwani bibia intisi an o use eno as a weapon yenko tie insema His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ekan ebra okache Ghana for say or smart delegation encompassed of ministers military people to go and seek mediation send be ya Burkina Faso abanya omuso mabani
na it we there me de manu besi ha na madam wase enkosu asem no say me ba ya na mate hunsam enti nyame adomachi na mesa konkran me drum kran ya mesuma ewo me yonko ho President Traore na mabusa ade ekoso sɛ ne bɛyɛ sɛ bibi wɔ hɔ a na yaka na bibi ato yie.
So that was the president of the Republic of Ghana, Anna Oche, said Obed dispatch a delegation normally omutima kwa resolve the issue. I believe the issue omuka once and in toast issue no. Now I told you said you before we bromo chroma so must start soon. Party say sad because one thing you should notice that your memo they risk their lives to go to Burkina Faso. For terrorists, a crewby a terrorist for hijacking a biana nanu ye kuku ye mami fui and I am mamu ya omoko kwan sui to go and bring tomatoes. Ebimu ya and yes still Burkina Faso is saying say yen ton tomatoes on our moba yen fa tomatoes ni mamua. Ye kukwa pie. Now we understand say way a business that people are in and one of their show mumba and also a ripple effect say tomatoes a short to Ghana ha a beha bibia from restaurants to business to even houses. Now the big question is, can't we grow tomatoes in this country? Miss Wanonamini say ebu mame a friend is saying onu aduane anaso oye nkwan na ebia wa horo niema na wotwitwa na nsuo bi owa o so kwa me beje ne ko tu nsuo ni gu. You know, so that time they know hiani ade into corner ko tu nsuo ni gu efichire ho a in the next 3 days uko twem efichire almost in toast afefe in toast etimi fefe e wo your backyard and I'm talking right here in Accra. So e ba ne se na ene no enibia ba ne ade aba no in toast ko etimi fifi Accra and all of a sudden no yes, see in toast, so it mean grow ni bebre, ne do ewo kromas, and now we are looking elsewhere, that is Burkina Faso. So even if Accra bit me grow in toast, Accra said you assassinate a bit not nice for agricultural growth, no. In Accra assassinate there, it's basically good for maize and other things, but then the hinterlands like Ashanti region, Bononia, the we can grow tomatoes there. And one of the things you notice that this Burkina Faso, no, Burkina Faso has no sea. Ghana insuo try no omunibi. So how come they are able to grow tomatoes, irrigate it, sell more tomatoes in their country, and even export some to Ghana, Togo, Niger, and so. And now we are here crying. Yenkutie mamemo or mama nebo omusan so edebe tuju ana omuse Mahama se onye bibi enfan ye ba ye be.
Kata omusa akache se na omusi Burkina mem elefant to silbinu eno ana me de echiri ebusu ahwo hebe de megina ye kumase West Coast ne megina da bia emma omudi ntusu ndwa ekọ Burkina kofa ba no bia ena megina sada no kasei enche influential see ma Ghana for jadi for amako Burkina kofa ntusu ba nipa bese enso ekohia mu kwanhia wo na ebi epreprae emu na otwetwe se na obi ankokwa aso kofa tomatoes ni emma na atwe bese menu a etwemo ni bi ekonya no na manfo kofa tomatoes ni ba edwa so a sabe Ghana for na bia omodie sabe amane ba beto Ghana ha efi bese enwa ebe ba no se Burkina ban eda ba beto ja se nyame boa ebe besi na yimini na wieye ma Ghana ni bia ema Burkina me fa tomatoes efi se sabe no wo tomatoes no won so obi chi mu nsu eda ile dwumadi e wo ho a ma Ghana for na ma mefa eba sa na Ghana ha ebe kwa titi ni se Ghana tomatoes no e sha se fi bosu nsu no ko bosu bese dwumadi no ele beba omuso ile sha se bosu ba ko se bosu ensie no ile ya tomatoes fi Burkina eba se kwa me eba fa so a ama Ghana ye tomatoes fo ede aye adwuma nimpo omo anam entosi so mo musa ko mo no e kwa me fa so a ometa oman Ghana mema
ye sika nyina hye me kura me gina hoi me de me fie kosi awo ana me je bosi ande ko ni nyina hye ke e kwa yi sai mu ana nyame ba ye adom ama kakakra ebe ko no yatimi ate yeka se wasi on the 30th bosumi we ko wu a ma obi ansi wo wusi wona wa de ebe to wo no de ebe to wo no nia enya na sam enti se ye wunu de ye nya ye wunu de ma ru nyira ya obi wani asati say Burkina government say 16 trees let's say end of March end of this month on your obi Burkina obi na ejo funa ka obi yam na what do you eat tomatoes let's say you entias me no wo ye obi a won no ye bibi no won fiti fra ko penka se watwa so
nka wobɛka sɛ o dodoɔ no amofa no mɛte so ama mo kakra bi sei na prɛko pɛ saa deɛ ɛno na ɛkye ma adwene a mepɛ sɛ deɛ ɔma ama wɔbam sɛ Ghana mpanyimfoɔ deɛ meputu aba ne sɛ sɛ yɛkɔ fa wo ho memehu no sɛ ntosi nso ɛba bɛka ho kyerɛ sɛ dodoɔ no a yɛnya no sɛ ebetwa koraa enti Ghana mpanyimfoɔ mesrɛ mo ani die mo nsɔre na yɛnya ntosi ne ɛnyɛ sa ɛnu 2 weeks no ɛnya de a Ghana ha ntosi ebi besi kuma Ghana ama obi anya biadie
sɛ ebi a te na ɔbɛte so sɛ deɛ na yɛhema baako ne kan te na ɔbɛte so koraa na yɛfa anema no nkakra ɛno bɛboa sɛ impromptu yɛ a yɛnka bi nhyɛmu wo sɛ ma yɛnsi kurom hɔ koraa na fa nneɛma biem ɛba saa na ɔne yɛ ani ne yie
mede si Ghana man a wɔbɛtie me ne awie ya na wɔbɛhu me sɛ mekasa nyinaa ne sɛ Minister of Trade wɔn ma yɛnte wɔ bunka sɛ adwuma no de hyɛ wɔn nsa no wɔn yɛ a naafɔ wɔn di agorɔ yakɔ hɔ yakɔku yɛn yakɔ hɔ yakɔku yɛn yakɔ hɔ yɛbu yɛn yakɔ hɔ yɛgye sika obi yɛ ka biribi afa na kɛse aba no kɔ wɔn sɛ yɛ Ghana afɔ koraa no we are not serious.
In some way, and a course, so I just say, my memo, or mobile for pass, Bahama, and Brim. Now, for those of you who need the course, no, Osha, this is the letter a year. Burkina Faso are buying at the buy, as you can see on the screens. Also, joint communique. Suspension of fresh tomatoes exports in Burkina Faso. It is here, no, this particular letter, no, if we the Ministry of Industry and Commerce and our back room, the the Ministry of Finance, and also the Ministry of Water and Animal Fishery Resources. Into these two ministries, and on this letter way about. Also, it is hereby brought to the attention of the economic operators and the general public that in order to ensure the supply of national processing units, the export of fresh tomatoes is suspended across the entire national territory until further notice. Consequently, the issuance of special export authorization is being suspended. Economic operators who currently hold valid fresh tomato export authorization are given a period of 2 weeks from the date of signing of this communique to complete their export procedures. After this deadline, an existing authorization will be considered null and void. In any case, any person found in violation of this decision will be suspended to sanctions in accordance with applicable regulations. Furthermore, any goods seized in violation of this measure will be handed over free of charge to the industrial fresh tomato processing units established under the framework of the Popular Shareholding Program. The government counts on the understanding and cooperation of all actors in the tomato sector, as well as all technical services in the state, particularly border control services and security forces, to ensure the proper implementation of the themes of this communique. Any non-compliance with the provisions of this communique may be reported to the following toll-free numbers. And this was definitely signed by Sege Enyadem Puda, who happened to be the Ministry of Industry, the Minister of Industry, Commerce and Crafts. So what they are saying is that the ban is because Nanu na Burkina Faso started some processing of tomato paste and tomato paste no metimi aide eno akwa. Now the good thing about this tomato paste, they say, and say, and as a time I say no, time I say a check. It can be in a store for almost a month or 2 or 3. I think after this, a chebe bria and say, but then tomatoes in this raw form, see a tekra na abre. Now the toka so, and also the took a trailer so Saudi Burkina air bar. Every 1 week cry na one shot a bessay. And you turn out chroma or more tomatoes as you apra and as a essay and also your tony separately. I'm saying this because my mom used to sell foodstuffs into me nim. You could draw in what they sell. What am I saying? Now, apart from all of these, one of the things I also tell you, Burkina Faso party say now they are banning the sale of tomatoes in this raw form. And they are saying so be a beton be an easy. Near the amount of buying or more ton tomatoes and more processed tomatoes into tomato paste, and also the final. So now this has become a very big issue. not just for the traders or more Burkina Faso, but also no for the people as you see or more delay in these kind of goods, and definitely things are not really going on well. I mean, okay, say no, it be and I will share ya. Utimsi ma memo eka se ebeyanka His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ibrahim Traore oba ni inauguration and inaugural ceremony ase ewo Ghana no ebeyanka tomatoes a wabane Burkina tomatoes a wabane se ma ne mba Ghana ha no, if it is possible anka onye bi emfa ho. That is what he that is what the traders in question no omo pray and answer omo pa aban achew. And the big question here is Kwame Nkrumah Ghana that ben dakra na ye start say ye to tomatoes if Burkina Faso for Burkina nsuo any apu any sa krudi mu no ene Burkina Faso etimi grow tomatoes ma etie for tomatoes to mu grow no, they've outpaced Ghana in production emma omo ton do draw any excess eba krum ha say. And the sad thing in all of this is now that they are selling these tomatoes, a crony who said no, tomatoes no, ye turn in its raw format, in its fresh format, ye nyashe, and no, ye be processing near yen tomato paste, and no, ube nyeska, and no, and say. And now, almost on my banner, you know, what you see is that we are here crying. We are here crying, and now we have all sorts of people in our traders, especially our mothers, saying "Se Mahama enye bibi enfa because se Mahama entimi anye na Burkina Faso entimi enyi sa ban ya." What will happen is that 2028 year omone Mahama will be ka. Honestly, this is a very sad issue, and it just tells you how weak and pathetic this country has become. Regardless, no, because we say John Dumelo so the same year Babe Tuja. John Dumelo happened to be the Deputy Minister of Agric. Or the Tuja said, "Gani bit me produce tomatoes will crumba amana suye nyaswa." It has to be in the next 4 years. This is a very sad issue. But then you need indemnity. And then we are also looking into all of these details as more updates continue to flow in. Now, you may face the same ways quickly, no. Now, you actually the camp of Eslowusu. Now, this woman Eslowusu was one of the most notorious, would I say corrupt, maybe corrupt, and also a minister, a communication minister, not only very effective. She was just a personal whose job was just flawed. We saw Eslowusu come into this system, being a communication minister, and as a DBI Obefi so as a minister of communication, not self-flying egu, not busy internet egu, not many of the telco companies, some of them went insolvent. Just it was not there because of the high taxes and also the bureaucracy and aside from that too, what we saw was that she merged Airtel Tigo together. I mean, or merge Airtel any together. No, still now, so aside from that too, 5G network and I was say bano and that's on ten ama HA a coin same bebre or kahu and then MTN or we raise your more prices. Now this incompetent, horrible, corrupt woman I find Eslowusu and then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is giving a clear signal, say they may be going after this woman. Now, mind you, this woman even lost her seat as the Ablikman not also MP, and we've seen it in all of these things. No, yes, so what we are learning is that Mahama have called her out. Now, this is in reaction to a year in Sema. Now, we to just say Mahama buying air party say Obabe new SIM registration. Now, Ghanaians were saying, say, how long would you guys register a SIM? Because because US, I don't need to do this over and over again. Because Europe, I don't need to do this over and over again. So how come say now we register here Ghana Foku Cha line tin. What is really happening? Mahama Now we will go and watch the video. But I'll show you what screen. So data from the previous SIM registration exercise was made available to NIA. It wasn't made available to NIA because the former communications minister Eslowusu and the NIA boss weren't on speaking terms. So according to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the NTA person more connected the Ghana card to the new SIM registration. So will be the one and will be the number be a fraud, mobile money fraud. The bit ma tracking it directly, you know. See, I know, sir. Acadian system anyone is because a brana Eslowusu or ye minister no na on the National Identification Authority or mo boss no na omo nkasa enu to a bra Eslowusu new SIM registration no data na also link it to Ghana card. It was not linked. Why? Because Eslowusu na one papa no eko. Now Mahama himself came out to explain the reason why. Because what he say, many Ghanaians are talking and they are frustrated. Say, how many times would we register our SIM? And of course, ababaye party e wukruma see. Minister bia ba anaban bia aban fufuro bia ba omo sisa prepaid meter. Sisi an fufuro so ye dia ba be kan won say ye ba send ye tie bia no. Ye be ye den ye be bɔ mmɔden na ɛkyɛ sɛ ade a ɛwɔ hɔ a ɛwɔ se yɛyɛ ankasa bio aban foforɔ ayɛ no ye ba ɛbɛsan ba bɛyɛ no foforɔ. For what reason? Yɛnti nsɛm a ɛyɛ His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said about this thing. Ye ba back we also look into if an official investigation will be going on in regards to Eslowusu, because if Eslowusu was supposed to do this and she did not do it, then it means Abano they have to go after her. In video, Babaka.
The same registration, no. Some of it here, and maybe a tremu. You see, you know, and be try a simple from. Now, at your how can say a buy? Okwa na empty and the sea canopy, nani party I say. Now you throw baku. At your how buy? For him say you. Yeah, you know. Senior name say Minister of Communications are all SIM registration no. Now on the National Identification Authority page no. Now omon kasa. Now say omuntem enye papa. Enti se wo SIM registration a e wo se wo de bata national registration ho. Se ne be ya your phone number yetimi hu se sa number yi nana suma hene dia if you say you register you the Ghana card atoso enti say number no ko ye bibia ni e trace a ibe hu say nana suma hene a number areho sam e wo ho ne say ya nya ne sa ye ko twa sim card foforo keke e che say mfaso bia ni so enti afa sim card registration here Minister of Communications e be ye no ye de bell link wo Ghana card na sa sim card no ntimi nsesa Ghana card da so da enti bibia e besi bia ye sa sim card no ye be hu se eye asimesi dia ana eye wei dia na eno the way aye be ye no enya dia obekwa akọ ye santene no akotwa card foforo ye de code bi beba wo phone so na akase churowudin enter Ghana card number ene ubi bia ewo sa code no so o enter wia na wamia enter na akọ database no na e de sim card na bata Ghana card no eno ano no enti wonko MTN enko ka se me be register me sim eno so ye free ni aya ne se re-registration na yebeye no telephone companies no ne betu aka it is a registration bia your 5 cedis a omo no betu 5 cedis na ma o enti wo dia ne say code no ba wo phone so a na ye erikopoku wo sim card a no achro erikopoku wo house number wo den on bebusa wo Ghana card ID number now they ashim no amia enter eno ano no wa register na obia obenya problem any registration no wo na obekọ company no wakoka say me sim card nie but me register emfa ana say na ye me papa sim card nso afa me na me use enti mpesa me sesa registration no ekomidim ebia na umame ewo phone ena owuja ho ena wo na wo use phone no enti obekọ akọ register ne sim no ewo wudim na chese adane odia aha enti sa nipa no nko a na beko phone company ho akọ sesa omo registration enti ka omo kan enye hu bia ye beye no simple na chese bibia etwetwa.
So that was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama or Church in saying how this new phone registration how is going to come about. na amanfoɔ ka so wadeɛ yɛ deda ade nti na mo sama yɛ bim o chichi mu actually say it is happening because other governments which happen to be a year eslowusu previous communication minister na say one aban foforo no ana one NI penny former NI boss na omo kasa nti no omo ye they did a flawed national identification and I say sorry Ghana card omo ye flawed SIM registration exercise actually say then they couldn't link the details to the Ghana card and also the SIM registration to also the Ghana card and vice versa. So that is exactly what is really going on. Now, it may feel in some way so quickly, near a year in some for so. Sabra Minoka say, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama today are a Muslim for Mudakesian or the Zimbia Babe to it's more there to join or the other said, these people, the factors, and the people are omuye mpenifoa te say omu leading countries or more war you say this is a time a beyanka yin giants and same way nyina na te say at the end of the day we can move yin tin say my Excellency John Dramani Mahama
celebrate today. We cannot ignore the pain and suffering that is going on in other parts of the world. Today, as we pray to Allah, our thoughts are with those who are impacted by the continued conflict in the Middle East. Innocent lives, including women and children, are being lost. Families have been displaced and communities have been shattered. On this solemn occasion of Eid al-Fitr, I invite all of us to offer prayers for peace in the Middle East. Let us pray that Allah will grant comfort to the bereaved families. Let us pray for healing of those who have been injured. And let us pray for relief to those in distress and wisdom to the leaders of the countries that are fighting to choose dialogue over war. May Allah touch the hearts of the leaders, President Trump, Netanyahu, Mustafa Khamenei, so that this war will come to an end. Ghana remains committed to the principles of peace, justice, and respect for international law, and will continue to lend our voice to calls for a peaceful resolution of this conflict and any other conflicts anywhere.
So this was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama clearly saying, sir, President Donald Trump, who any Israel President Netanyahu, and also the president of Iran, you guys should stop the bombing and killing of yourself and choose dialogue. Dialogue, they say, now on this same occasion, too, Mahama stole the show because of how I appear at the Independence Square to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr with our fellow Muslim brothers. You share how the whole thing went when Mahama actually stormed the venue. We continue.
Musulmai duniya baki daya da su fito zuwa ga wurin sallah saboda ubangiji su suna godiyan Allah suna masu girmama Allah saboda ni'ima da Allah ya musu na samun cikar wannan wata na Ramadan da kuma tsayuwa da aka yi a cikin dare aka roki Allah shi su zama masu buri a ce wannan watan nan ya dawo saboda alkhairi wanda yake mai yawa da lada da wanda yake Allah ne ba su shi su zama masu kauna masu buri a ce wannan watan nan ya dawwama za su dinga roƙon ubangiji su wanda yake mai baiwa mai girma da su don samu su wato ayyuka da su aikata na bautan Allah za su roƙi Allah ya yafe musu kuskuren da suka yi daga cikin rayuwarsu suna masu roƙon Allah maimaita musu wannan rana da halin suna cikin alkhairi gaskiya suna bayan bayan wa idan da sallah idan za mu koma gidajenmu yana daga cikin sunna na annabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam hanyar da muka biyo muka zo inda muka yi sallah don kokari mu sake hanya zuwa ga gida wannan koyi ne ga annabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam akwai wani hikima wanda yake mai girma a cikin yin haka kuma ya Allah ku bar mu gode ma Allah mun sallallahu alaihi wasallam da yi muna mu samu wannan addini wanda yake manimaci, addini wanda yake na Allah wanda ya halitta sammai da ƙasa baki daya. Addini kenan na wanda yake suka gabace mu daga annabawa, muna wannan addini kuma ya yarda da wannan addini shine addini da zamu dawama akai. Allah kuma ya cika mana ni'ima dangane da wannan samun addini wanda yake kora mu akan hanyar shari'a, yake kora mu akan hanya wanda yake madaidaiti, yake gyara mu wato yake.
Okay, so this was a year President John Dramani Mahama grand entry to the Independence Square as part of the Eid al-Fitr celebration. It caught the eyes of a lot of people. Now, we all know about the issue of Charles Idubuahin and then Kwame Idubuahin and then the whole NIB National, the NSB National Signals Bureau contractor, Israeli contractor JR, and also $7 million or pocketed 6 apparently, and kutua 1 and who send be blame no ka say no Paul adomoche e dia ba betu dwa say say ne ye da so ne hu say Dubuahin ne here no they are working scot free. It is because Attorney General Mahama appointing no ejuma no onim ye because they are losing the case or the battle in the Supreme Court.
Crack the Dubuahin story right now, and we warned the Attorney General about excessive press conferences that were not the way in which prosecutors work. Prosecutors will usually go to court and make their case. Dominic Ayini, the Attorney General, began his work with excessive press conferences. Now he has stopped, but we are waiting for his next press conference because some of the things happening in the court, well, we have to wait to see. But it looks like what is happening in the court is not bearing out what he said at the press conference. It appears like that. The judge is the ultimate decision maker. We are not the decision makers. The High Court judge is the ultimate decision maker. We understand that in the process, the judge has been changed. Whilst we know that the Chief Justice has the prerogative to do that, no reasons have been assigned to the lawyers as to why the judge was changed. But we do know that the Chief Justice has the prerogative to change judges. So the judge in the Kwame Dubuahin case has been changed. His Lordship Justice Nyandu has been replaced with a new judge who heard the case 2 days ago. The last 3 times they were in court was a new judge. But the kind of testimony coming out of the court is serious. Have a look at this conversation on Peace FM, and then we'll come and give you the data and the facts. Have a look.
Already, Edith, Ruby, Opokua, Eduamwa. Na Auntie Edith, Ruby, Opokua, Eduamwa. And then you give us a bit of a yes and toa. One walk with the dance here. Say, Kwabna Adubuahin. Kwabna Adubuahin, your bonus of what say, hey, Sika, where we are not there, or one of 5 question. Attorney General Ben on press conference. Say, no, maybe Bohra man and yes, hey, Attorney General. Say, we would now hear Okunini Womrem, a ban lawyer penny pow. Na Emram ya young qua Emram school you be enemy say. Say, they so bo Dominic. Say, Dominic, why you A, B, C, D? Ye knew I said, oh, court. Near Quack could do a sem. Na court na chest as someone wanted to Dominic you see, or do for and now or dip him. Nanso, Nansende, Assembly Attorney General press conference. One big chim in the way you say, the way you say. You say 49.1 million Ghana cedis. Rabasa Aira F National Conference. You National Security Fusika and the fine could see him. Odansini Bako, Adi Dinde Edit Ruby, Opokua, Eduamwa, and Wokodia Dansia. Ono in charge of finance, or say, ye Nimisi Kabia, ye 49.1 million. Aira. And you say, na yamwana mo, no, see, I want you intro. Adia minimum menka. Me Jimmy can or no Attorney General second prosecution witness. Attorney General na witness you second prosecution witness. Ababe John say or no edit Ruby Opokua Eduamwa. Yan can't no to a Gina Accra High Court to a sini pine. Say she has no record. HSA 49.1 million Ghana cedis. Aya Edia Free National Security for Agosu.
So you heard that. So what happened in court was that the lady said to the court, and I'm going to show you the text, that, you know, the Attorney General's case was formulated on some 49 million that is missing, or some 49 million that has been stolen by Kwame Dubuahin. They had their exchange rates and translated the 49 million to be $7 million. They said that Kwabna introduced an account together with his wife called BNC private account. Listen to Dominic Aini speaking to Ghanaians months ago in 2025. Listen to Dominic Aini.
The transfer from the National BNC's account brought the total transfers that he made to his private BNC to 49 million Ghana cedis. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was exactly the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million United States of American dollars.
Did you hear that? An attorney general going to court to prosecute a case. He comes to do a press conference and pronounces the accused person guilty to the general public in pursuit of oral. Their oral, the so-called oral. In pursuit of oral, the learned attorney general comes to does something that has never happened in the history of the Fourth Republic. And we've said it here many, many, many times. The first attorney general of the Fourth Republic is probably Anthony Forson. Or is it Tando? Maybe it's Tando. And then Anthony Forson. And then Nobeda Samoa. And then Nana Akufo-Addo, Papa Usman Kuma, Ayukwe Otu, Joe Garte, Marietta Brew, isn't it? Yeah, it is indeed. Betty Mould Idrisu. And then you had Martin Amidu. And then you had who else? Somebody came, and then you had at MPP coming, isn't it? Gloria Kufu, Godfrey Dame. No attorney general, none of them, not even the revolutionary Obeda Samoa, will hold a press conference and pronounce an accused person guilty. And I've said it before, when we're covering quality grain in 2001, 2002, Nana Akufo-Addo was the attorney general. He was prosecuting the case together with the director of public prosecutions. He died. May he rest in peace. His name is Safo Sampong. And they will not even grant interviews after court. Akufo-Addo thought that it was unethical to grant interviews after court when you are prosecuting, not with Dominic Aini. As for him, the picture is not yet. Sorry, viewers. As for Dominic Aini, he comes to the markets and pronounces people guilty in the ears of the general public. Do you know what has happened to Dominic Aini? As a lawyer who is a seasoned lawyer like him, who has been teaching law for many years, he was listening to a journalist. How can a journalist, we journalists, we are whistleblowers. The work of a journalist is essentially whistleblowing. The whistle that we blow, some of it may be correct, some may not be correct. Eventually, those that are correct, the state benefits. So journalists are whistleblowers. Journalists don't take a tooth comb and go through a process to determine what is actionable and what is not actionable. When we are doing our stories, we don't check whether this is a violation of Act 29 or that the procedures have been violated. That's not our call. Our call is to throw the light on whatever is happening, to point people to something may be happening here so that authorities can act. But if you are a prosecutor, an important one like the Attorney General, and your ears are given to a journalist to tell you the case you are making, then you will be holding press conferences like that and be talking about things that are not even actionable. They were talking about Eduboyin has cars, Eduboyin has houses. That has not even come up in the courts. It's not part of the court work. That is how we journalists are. We are whistleblowers. We are not prosecutors. We can't help you to prosecute. We can just blow the whistle so that you, the Attorney General, you can look into the matter and come back and tell us something. That is why Dom Levo said that the oral, most of the things that came is garbage. That's why Dom Levo said that. He said it's garbage. Because that is our work as journalists. We are blowing the whistle. So Dominic Aini may have ceded his office to a journalist to tell him what to do. And that is why we are having what we are having.
Okay, so that was Paula Dumoche in Sema or the Tuja. Now let's move on quickly. Me no kasi see an information about the Kayensa air patches. A group of soldiers are moving Germany. Abi PM Ghana and say no PM no, they went straight to Ghana Armed Forces or barracks. Okay, so the big question is, Ghana Armed Forces or barracks what is the issue? We are learning said they are going there to train our military soldiers. Senebeya at the end of the day, insurgencies and how a terrorists for and then the Ghana is so just we can be ready for that. And also no, there's a paradigm shift in the world currently. In say US, Israel, they are fighting Iran, Russia, so now Europe, Russia and Ukraine. As I say, and there are tensions elsewhere, China, Taiwan, and in Japan. It is everywhere. Now, many cases these soldiers are mobile and they are saying say the main reason why they came here is because to train Ghana army to carry out missions on not just Ghana soil, but also on foreign land and also on water, how they can be able to face the enemy on land, on water, and also how they can secure zones. A ben Lake Volta. Mind you, my catch also na no toko for any say in sure a Ghana wishan and dear. We cannot even drill oil. And according to a Ghana Maritime Authority, there have been intimidation coming from the Togolese army. Intimidated Ghana for a navy near military. Ninyane say 2 oil even though per Ghana maritime no a chasing sa oil near the adina a share so. So acquire incumbent say the we are coup d'etat in Yama air cost and the we are see some countries want to invade another country. Ghana, we will be in the best position to also safeguard and secure ourselves. It's the way into screens so sure or say just in German soldiers are training Ghana army instructors on how to carry out missions on land and water, including how to secure landing zones near Lake Volta. So these are some of the pictures which was definitely posted by Ghana Army, a BNA, as you can see, we Germany for and away no somewhere in the forest. I yet show them how to take out the enemy sniper zones, how to face off the enemy. And on the screen so and also the way ensure so the army combat forces we a German army training Ghana for, and it is something else and it's okay, this is a serious business. The big question now among ABC say, what is the reason and what is the rationale behind this? We want to know. Why is it at this particular crucial time, we air cost? Now, you understand because you can even question that because currently there's war going on. We know about the US, Israel-Iran war. Now, Donald Trump, our president of the United States of America, he's been saying and agitating for some weeks now, campaign and I said, wow, Omoko against Iran. The US could win it though, but then see Iran for holding on and blocking the Strait of Hormuz. And who be here say European allies, NATO, they will join. Now all the countries and the European allies are saying that they don't want to join. But after much pressure, we are learning today say the Ministry of Defense in UK, they will be joining this particular campaign with an exception. In the way into screen so. As you can see, we if we in the United Kingdom defense ministry how as you can see on the screens as you can see on the screens, I think that we may need to refresh this a bit. Okay, if you suppose so, let's read it. I'll say last night UK Typhoon and F-35 aircraft supported by Voyager air-to-air refueling continued to conduct defensive air patrols over Jordan, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. The UK has more jets flying in the region than at any time in the last 15 years, while British pilots have now exceeded 700 flying hours. 500 additional UK personnel are supporting air defense activities across the UK bases in Cyprus. The UK has sent a small number of additional planners to US CENTCOM to help with the planning and option developmental ways to improve security in the Strait of Hormuz. It's clearly, UK air partners say the way Iran air bombing countries in the Gulf states, almost bases, any asset, military aircraft, any military bases, and security, but more importantly, sending a team as a fraction of their team to US CENTCOM, leading the mission against Iran to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, and no, a a friend is saying Iran for a block here. Now that's where 20% of the world ships pass the world or ships and vessels they pass. But Sian is being blocked. You're blocking the Sano. What we are learning is that Omo party say Abani say, you know, let's say UK for or some who gym no secure the Strait of Hormuz. And we are even learning, say, Sisiano, one of the things they've also done, and one of the things they're also doing is to, at the end of the day, allow US to use your friend is one of their bases to actually attack, and I say to attack vessels almost set a year, friend is bombs. When soon as ships and so a bomb ships, you know. So that is exactly what is really going on. But in all of these two, the Israel Defense Forces (IDF) Omudin Simbi Ababetu, and they posted this in Arabic. Definitely me to me can Arabic, but then there's a translation beneath it. I'll say EBIT Systems is developing an airborne laser system to enhance Israeli air superiority. Because you see, I know follow war now to say Israel and US have gained dominance over Iran airspace. See, and they are saying that they'll be adding more layer of systems. And this particular layer of systems, you know, you share no enam obi emanswa they can shoot incoming missiles. Or see, EBIT Systems is developing an airborne laser weapon system to be installed on Air Force fighter jets and helicopters in order to enhance air superiority and protect the country from complex threats such as swarms of drones and missiles. It will follow issue here to say one of the things are very effective in this Iran-US-Israel war. The Shahed drones are Iran for AUSU, and that is causing a major havoc because they're using it to bomb US targets there. Now, these drones usually and previously will have been taken out, but then these Shahed drones, you know, they fly so low because of that. So the GPS and also other detecting signals ain't even detecting these drones because they fly so low and they are not really deep in the sky. You know, they are able to, a friend is saying, outpace these detection systems and hit target. That's how come I bet you see a bombing Dubai, a bombing Qatar. Iran is just bombing every place. Now, they will be taking missiles. They'll be taking these F-35 jets and they'll be installing these laser, more like these laser systems. A bit shooty these incoming drones. Any swarm of drones are ever. Or say, the development focus on taking advantage of the directed energy benefits from area platforms, enabling the interception of targets in difficult weather conditions and maintaining beam effectiveness above the cloud layer away from the effects of the weather. The new system integrates into Israel's multi-layered defense network, providing continuous and flexible protection against evolving threats. Its mobile capabilities compared to fixed systems allow for rapid deployment of active defense sites. Key engineering challenges include miniaturizing power sources and stabilizing the beam on fast vibrating platforms to ensure high accuracy and stable performance. In addition, Osanso Tuaso said, in addition to its defensive role, the system is expected to have future offensive applications, enabling the precise targeting of specific objects without causing widespread collateral damage, thus giving the Israel military a strategic advantage in populated battlefields. Once this technology is fully developed and deployed, it is expected to fundamentally change how Israel deals with asymmetric and complex threats, enhancing its air superiority and increasing the effectiveness of its modern defense system. So Israel is saying, these drones are but then Iran for AUSU to bomb the Gulf states and also to attack the US bases in the Gulf and also Israel. Now they are using or facing more laser on these F-35 jets. These F-35 jets, what will happen is that at the end of the day, it is going to help your friend said detect. It is going to help detect some of these things. At the end of the day, bombs near the Adene air basana, they can be able to take it out. So that is the issue. Air Koso, definitely, this has risen or raised a whole lot of eyebrows. Amanfobisa said, what the hell is going on? Because just as we thought, the war may be coming to an end. It is just beginning because Yanum for air party say Africa Babe develop a correct system because no one in this fight wants to give up. Iran for no, they don't want to give up. The US for no, so They don't want to seem like losers. Say ya kokon ye koya or the regime yes ye someone they are intact. So that is one of the things that so at the end of the day, you could see that this war obi ne can answer say it is far from over. So we are monitoring all of these issues and answer all of these cases at the end of the day, you be shed ye be koso. And also updates via baby and we'll do well to make sure that the Nina Ebebro right here on this particular platform. Yes, definitely. There are a lot of issues the air course. So that is the issues air course. So at the end of the day, the Bekobiano Ebebwa. Now, if you are following us on this particular platform, few hours ago, the update we by say UK government snubs His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to officially give Nigeria President Tinubu an official state visit with King Charles. Mind you, Nigeria is big and has a lot of resources, not just resources, also has oil, and also it is the most populated country in Africa. So it was wise from a strategic standpoint, say UK would like Tinubu to come to enhance stability and also, your friend is foster bilateral relations between the two countries. We understand that. But one of the things so ana so is because, and the underlining cause is because the Great Britain actually colonized Nigeria and also Ghana. And aside from that too, the issue about what the UK really wants. Apparently, this particular state visitor, Tinubu had or was given by the UK, the Great Britain, the UK government. So it was basically because the UK, as always, wanted something. The Brunei a quid pro quo. Now, mind you, all of these things, of course, that's already a pay and information. Say, fine, they've given a year. Tinubu the state visit of the century any African president could ever get. But then the issue here still remains that what does the UK still want? Therefore, that's sorry a UK for now. This is coming from one of Nigeria's biggest newspaper. Almost actually news portal. Nigeria UK signed deal to deport failed asylum seekers and offenders. Into this particular dirty visit, state visitor, young fan Mahama no. Ultimately, I knew that Mahama would have rejected it. No, Nigeria, Nigeria, all the pageantry. Nigeria for the UK are signing deal saying, one more UK are drug dealers, one more UK are murderers, one more UK are criminals, one more UK are more a breaking law. Say ye deport you, be saw ye Islam, Christian, ofi wine. Ye deport you more. You be deport you by Nigeria. Now, this is not the first time that this particular deal was done. In fact, it was done with this one of these countries. Would it be Kenya or Zambia or so? And look around, UK folk will see a whole building, a whole town building complex. I can only be deport you Marco. I'm a itching, I'm basso, I'm a sikane, a dining in an egu. But then you're reading the details of this and how this is very devastating because Nigeria. Sa criminals see deport you Nigeria. Na omintima na hwa baby omdi omeni beche Ghana and the AK. Now yentu aso has read. Nigeria has signed a new agreement with the United Kingdom to facilitate the return of failed asylum seekers, visa overstayers, and convicted offenders in a move aimed at strengthening migration control and bilateral cooperation. The deal was signed by Nigeria's Minister of Interior, Olubimi Tunji Ojo, and the UK Homeland Secretary Shabana Mahmood during the state visit of President Bola Tinubu to the UK, according to UK Home Office on Thursday. So, Okwasa, UK Home Office on website, so they've even detailed say I am pa or my sign it do way. Into all those people who seek asylum. You know, because when we deal grow UK, it be more criminals, it be more drug addicts, it be more rapists. Unfortunately, if your asylum doesn't go through, they'll deport you to Nigeria because Nigeria president any a year or minister signed deal or say under the agreement, the UK will be able to return thousands of individuals with no legal right to remain in the country, including failed asylum seekers or foreign national offenders. The arrangement also covers visa overstayers and introduces new administrative measures to ease deportation processes. So this deal, it is not alien or new to Nigeria alone. Mind you, Ghana, we also had our own share of the deal with President Donald Trump, and we are near deporting migrants about Ghana. So it's like the same kind of deal, but then just that this time around, Omuba, the people will basically remain in Nigeria, and already over 200 million populated people were ordered. Yes, and deported come home. So these are people that Omuba stay, they have criminal records, and they are offenders. Yeah, also the arrangements also cover visa overstayers and introduces new administrative measures to ease the deportation processes. Now, yet also what down where also a key provision allows Nigeria for the first time to accept UK letters, alternative identification documents issued to individuals without valid passports in place of standard travel documents. So in aid of this, one of the things that Nigeria force to be is alternative identification document. One more valid passports, and as a one more valid passport in place of standard travel documents. So the UK, the Nigerian government, or some people in the Nigerian government will be getting, some sort of pass here, but then the pass only applies to those in government, I believe. But then aside from that, the only thing here, munya say bimbenya free entry, and I say your visa processes fast. No, that is not really happening. That is not really happening to all the Nigerians except those in government. It's in Nigeria for many aside, but UK for what they want in return is to deport people to Nigeria. And I've told you, sir, once they start deporting these people, Nigeria no many baby for Ghana and Omubeba. Now, so while the start date, I see the Home Office said this removes a major bureaucratic obstacle that previously delayed returns. While the start date, duration, and financial terms of the deal are not disclosed, questions remain over whether the arrangement will apply strictly to Nigerian nationals or include other nationals. So Nigerians are now saying, say, sad deportation, yeah, would it be only Nigeria for a deportation and not all other nationals? Obin Kancho, Obiaka, Memo Obian Kancho, and what's Obiakacho? All nationals are included, Senegal, Ghana, any US force are the same thing. Data cited by UK authorities indicates about 961 Nigerians have exhausted their asylum appeal rights, while an additional 1,110 Nigerian offenders are awaiting deportation, suggesting that agreement could significantly accelerate removal. Speaking on development, Tunji Ojo said Nigeria's decision reflects its commitment to international obligations and responsible migration management. We are totally committed to being a responsible country in fulfilling our core obligations and not any semi award. So to sustain the relation, we must be as open and fair as possible. UK Minister for Border Security and Asylum Alex Norris described Nigeria as a key partner in tackling illegal immigration, noting its position as the UK's largest visa market in Africa. We owe everyone across the system fairness, Norris said, adding that anyone who abuses our system, breaks our laws, or attempts to circumvent immigration rules will be removed. Therefore, this is the news. Ababeka Yensa, so what is said Nigeria for Ebabeji a year. New set of people as this particular new set of people, because they've overstayed in the UK, you be deported or more. Yes, Nigeria for some Belgium, and I've told you, say, it's a Nigeria for almost so many foreign nationals can one normal count, but then I hate to break the news to them. Foreign nationals will be part, just as Ghana for NIGG or other countries. So that is what this whole thing is about. And at the end of the day, we believe so. To Nigeria, which is almost overpopulated, over 200 million people now. Omanya baby and from winning here. Country Ben or Mokabro for West Africa beam apart from Nigeria, Ghana, which means that they will be coming here nicely. Aha, that is a year in summer air course. So it is what it is. In summer air course, you need the indemnity, but then we are making sure said at the end of the day, you better follow. Now, more updates as all of this a year hold news continue to unfold in our beloved country, Ghana, because it is what it is, and definitely it is a sad thing. Say at the end of the day, these deals are happening, but then the government is saying, say at the end of the day, they'll be getting certain things in return. Rules and regulations are so it is what it is. My concerning this particular issue. Now at the end of the day, we get more details into this particular in semi air course. So that is the issue at air course. So whatever happens, we'll be giving you more updates as all of these various events continue to unfold right here in our beloved country, Ghana. Therefore, you better so not to say ya bomodia akwa in some for so because definitely there are more things to talk about right here on this particular platform. And one of the things that so how Ghana Sisiano we are in need of many things. And no, and I mean say President John Dramani Mahama was also in some for Ababe Tuja. I mean, definitely there are issues and there are concerns, but then at the end of the day, we believe that these concerns, Mahama, are addressed. So almost all of them in this particular new update are Ababe Kanyensa. So the big question is, what is really happening? So this is exactly what is really happening. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, or the new statement Ababe Tuja. What the President of the Republic of Ghana is saying now is that yes, so Ghana this particular project, and recently one of the projects are Abeje Interha social media the big push. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is telling us this particular big push program MPP forecast Bobby Siania the party says since now buying power no this can feel be a Mama party say a buying not buying engines can fee any person who maybe you be more loan grants and aid and the sika you more free some fan project abroad for na ma be pass say Mama buying akobo besiani they be and yes sir. Now President John Dramani Mahama actually said this during an occasional now all parties said the big push program at Ebasono, his government have not taken any money, the building of roads across the country and building of schools Opa is a government in his car MPB BIA and what this can be BIA Yankasi Sika and yet yes I the His Excellency John Dramani Mahama by
man for a big push a buying bia Yankobo Busia will be bia see the big push yesika Jene Stampa yesika Obiaka Prenka home Sunjani Outer Ring Road yesika and Sikano etaho and to Makacha contractor for Nina say you were Juman Tem Nafa certificate brand new Chioka. And to make us say a Juma on my big push Nina Menoka say ye free in crime. Anything I took us in Myanmar or on the office and almost signing almost certificate say Omunchiomuka Kofi Job Outer Ring Road the certificate count Nansea Ombechianica. Into a bebo on Humbusia cement and I be my team watcher and Chebia Nisika Beba.
Okay. So that was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Orchard said, the good thing about all of this is a binding kobo besiao. Yes, still they are delivering and doing this particular big push. So at the end of the day, it's actually a good thing. And then say a buyer first 2 years, a good 2 years, no more besia, they are doing so well. It is something that you must actually applaud. At the end of the day, no party says can go be and we are asking say anyways, you bet to us. So people are actually applauding His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on taking this particular initiative. Now, elsewhere, we told you, say, the Parliament of Ghana, over 1 million, they voted to change the name of Ghana's airport, prime airport, Ayokutuka International Airport to Accra International Airport. And then they've done it. Now, this particular video I was on the screen, clearly tells or so say the new signage, now, and the old signage are not Ayokutuka International Airport. It has been replaced with Accra International Airport. Why? Because there was a petition about Kutukano. Oh no, MA overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. So his name can't be on our airports like that, because why wouldn't we celebrate the leader instead of why would we celebrate or praise her and ask the person who plotted the coup d'etat instead of we celebrating Nkrumah? But then the argument is that Nkrumah has his name on a lot of things, on our rules, on our schools, on our money, what else again? And the argument came said, if that is the case, then one of the things that we can do as a nation is to actually give the name back or reverse the name back to the original name. And the original name previously, Ebrana Kwame Nkrumah cry president, Ebrana Kwame Nkrumah cry president, was a Accra International Airport, and that is exactly what has been done. See, I know in California, they've been saying, so name everything up Accra. So first, no Babajara, Mr. Babajara, forgive first, not Accra Sports Stadium. The name was is it Baba Jan Sports Kofi Jan Sports Stadium also. Forgive me, I checked, but the name was not a year. Your friend is saying Accra Sports Stadium, and almost saying, do you know? Accra Sports Stadium, and now too they've successfully pushed for a naming Kotoka International Airport, Accra International Airport. And they are even pushing say Accra na anka Akwaba no yenyi Akwaba na no back, which I think that one will not be possible. So that is exactly what is really going on. Now in other news too, all these things are airports. You know, some people are of the view say Niema Enkoye, and then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not really doing well. Yenti sema interviewer Free Your Mind podcast on ebimo have young person Mahama ban abano sebiu anga kufa do kra tena so a angemfa so
Mahama memu no Enkoye because why in 419 Mahama ye in 419 fi say promises are the ma yen ansana ye koto abama no bibie ni ho aye hu omu ye asema Mahama ka kire ye bia Mahama nye ye the John Mahama asem dey ana me pese me kan because they say ono ti we freedom of speech no wa say no se bibi ha na ukọ kan untimi nka efi se mi kọ kan ye bechi me ofa Enkoye enye me na meka se Enkoye o wanka saudi adanse se Enkoye Mahama memu no Enkoye because why in 419 Mahama ye in 419 fi say promises are the ma yen ansana ye koto abama no bibie ni ho aye hu omu ye asema Mahama ka kire ye bia Mahama nye ye ebi ni say 24-hour economy Mahama nye ye light se me kire wo light a me to a ofa ya una me de kasa no me mpese me de ma asem ebe chese me ti wei obi obehu me oni me onim se me yekunafo me yusu niema bia wo me de mu ba me kire wo week light a me to a ye mienu pe recently me neighbor yakun light ho Mahama memu light no ekose shim o si 24-hour economy no light no ye betete so Mahama ba ye ya two light mu more than 3 times o ya two water bill mu ya two fair no kwata se me nu ka se fuel nsusu asem asan be bom enti na amemu no won se sa niema no nso ena nke yetete so a nke affect reality no eniema na kosoro enti no ade no aye nwunran enti ye pa Mahama chew ya na eto abanama no na mmom ebi dide wo mubotom esrofo na edido asia ha ye hwehwe enti ye pa ne chew se stia no obesesa na baby or drive kono nsesa na maye
Therefore, in some way, and woman edit to JDBCRC will be giving you more updates as all of these various events continue to unfold. Thank you so much for